Welcome to Dare, the show for innovators, entrepreneurs, and startup leaders who dare to shape the future. Your hosts today are Ned Hayes and Cecilia Mariani. Dare is brought to you by Darwaf, the superpower tech team that can make your vision a reality. Welcome to season 2 of the Dare podcast. We're really excited to have Mike Barrett kick off 2024 for us. He's a brilliant success story in Portland. He's a great entrepreneurial leader who created a company, UnoSquare. And UnoSquare has consistently landed on the Inc. 5000 list. That's the list of the most fastest growing private companies in the United States. It's really prestigious. And I know that Mike was really instrumental in launching UnoSquare. He's recently stepped back to spend some time with nonprofit pursuits and board advisory roles. So we're very excited that Mike was able to find some time in his busy schedule to talk to us as the year launches. So welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Ned. Thanks, Cecilia. It's great to be on your podcast. I've listened to a couple of your other episodes, and it's a privilege to be with you.
Oh, thank you. Well, welcome to the show, Mike. I'd like to start with UnoSquare, a company you nurtured for success for over 14 years. How did UnoSquare get started?
Well, UnoSquare really started out of kind of trauma. I mean, I was going to quit my job as president of another software development company out of Mexico. And I was going to meet with the CEO of that company and give him a 3 to 6 month transition plan. And he fired me on the spot.
Oh my gosh.
And this was 2009. And as you guys remember, 2009 was terrible. The economy was bad. So I'm sitting there with no job, $30,000 in credit card debt, 4 kids, a mortgage, no savings, no income. And the only thing I knew how to do was offshoring, nearshoring, software development. So I kind of got forced into it. I had no choice. I felt like Richard Gere in that scene in Officer and a Gentleman where the drill sergeant's beating him up and saying, I want you to quit. I want you to quit. And he kind of sits up and goes, I got nowhere else to go. You know?
Wow. So that was really hard launch in 2009. So what took you to the next stage of growth? I mean, clearly you had great success, but how the heck did you get out of that moment of desperation to the next level?
It took a few years. You know, I just was grinding, just like you guys. You know, I was on airplanes and I was in meetings and I was pulling every relationship card that I could pull to get coffee meetings and lunch meetings and just tell the story. And eventually, slowly but surely, we started to get customers. And I remember the very first real customer that we got was a publicly traded healthcare company. Mm-hmm. And when we did the math, we realized by the time they paid us, we were going to go out of business because we needed money for payroll and lease and computers and stuff like that. And I called this guy and I said, hey, when we send you our invoice, we need you to pay us upon receipt of invoice. We need you to wire transfer the money immediately. He says, Mike, we can't do that. We're a publicly traded healthcare company. You'll be lucky if you get paid in 45 days.
Ouch.
And I said, Randy, you don't understand. And I was very vulnerable and I was very raw in those days because I had no choice. Right. Mm-hmm. And I said, Randy, if you don't pay us when you see the invoice, we're not going to make it as a company.
Wow.
And he said, let me see what I can do. So he called the CFO. He pulled in a favor with the CFO and they paid us upon receipt of invoice. And what's funny is that CFO got fired. The replacement CFO got fired. It was the third CFO after 4 years who said, who is UnoSquare and why are we paying them upon receipt?
It happened something very similar when I started with my own company.
Is that right?
I couldn't believe that someone paid in 30, 60 or 90 days. We are almost dying because of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, you know the story.
Let's continue with UnoSquare. So now the company, UnoSquare has certain areas of focus, right? So
yes.
What are those areas of focus?
Yeah, so UnoSquare has grown quite a bit over the last 15 years. We have more than 1,000 full-time employees in 7 countries.
Wow.
And 90% of the revenue, let's say between 80 and 90% of the revenue is focused on two verticals. It's focused on healthcare and healthcare related services and financial services. So our largest clients are federally chartered banks and large healthcare diagnostics companies.
Mm. Got it.
We also do some work with software, and we do some work like with Columbia Sportswear and Harvard, and some clients that are outside of healthcare and financial services, but mostly it's those two.
So what really took you into those very specific verticals of healthcare and financial services?
It just happened again. The whole company was birthed out of desperation. I mean, it was just who would say yes to us.
Right.
That's it. And eventually, after a few years, you look backwards and you go, hey, quite a few healthcare companies said yes to us. And
right.
So then you start to create a discipline around it. And we've created practice managers and practice areas. And, we have thought leadership and things like that now in those two verticals.
Yeah. But you were really chasing the work, and the work helped you to build your area of expertise there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I remember when we hit 40 full-time employees, that was like the magic number in our industry. When we hit 40, it's suddenly the amount of money in our bank account started to exceed our expenses. That's probably when we started to feel like we might make it. I think we're going to make it. And that was 3 or 4 years after we started the company. So
yeah. Well, so you started this company, as you said, kind of out of desperation. But prior to UnoSquare, you did have an entrepreneurial history.
Yeah.
And so can you tell us a little bit about your history and what gave you the ability to even get UnoSquare off the ground?
It's not that exciting, Ned and Cecilia. To tell you the truth, it was failed. It was full of failures. I started an advertising agency when I was 24 years old called Barrett Advertising. That shut down in a few years. And then I went to work to corporate America. I worked for a division of Kelly Services and BBSI, which are big publicly traded staffing companies. And those were good years. I did well there. And then I went and started another company called First Technology Sales in 1998. And that failed because the .com thing in 2001 crashed it.
I remember that well, unfortunately.
Yeah. It was terrible. So at one point, my wife made me promise her that I would never start another company because I was just so bad at it. But again, I had no option, right? When we started UnoSquare, there was no choice. I was 45 years old, and I needed. It's all I knew how. It's the only thing I knew what to do. So.
Great. So all of your earlier failures led you to later success. But you must have had some people you admire. Who inspire you or mentor you? Who are the people you model yourself?
Yeah.
After all this,
Yeah, probably the first guy that comes to mind, Cecilia, is my first boss at Kelly Services. It was the first time I got hired into a real corporate job. I was a vice president of marketing at 28 years old. And I knew marketing. I had a good brain. I had good ideas, but I didn't really know the game. I didn't know what corporate America was like. And he taught me how to dress. He taught me what cigars I should be smoking. He told me that before he would ever hire a salesperson, he would go down and look at their car. He would find out what car they're driving, and he would go look at their car in the parking lot. And he would see if their car was full of trash and, unkept, and he would never hire that person. And he told me you would always know a really good employee by how they take care of their own stuff. And he taught me so many things. That's just one of many examples. Mark Stein, he runs a big nonprofit now out of Southern California. And he was really my first mentor. And then after that, guy that Ned, you might know here in Portland named Mark Reed.
Yeah.
Mark was he's probably my most long-standing mentor in business. He ran, Web Trends and he was a number 2 guy at InFocus for a long time. And he's still very close. He's 10 years older than I am. He's made all the mistakes that I was going to make. And he really taught me a lot. So I think those two gentlemen.
Yeah, those are some great mentors to have. people to teach you the ropes early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're also helping other companies right now. You're
Yep.
somebody who people look to guidance. So can you tell us about some of the companies that you're currently helping now that you've stepped away from a full-time operating role?
Yeah. So I was very, very fortunate to mentor my replacement at UnoSquare. So the current CEO, Giancarlo, he traveled the country with me and went to all the clients with me for about 5 or 6 years. And I taught him the business. And he now is running the company and he's doing much better than what I ever did. And he's grown it to heights that I could never take it. And then my son Joel is the chief commercial officer, and same thing. He's working harder than I ever worked, and he's doing better than I ever did. So UnoSquare is covered. I still am a shareholder there, but it's on its own. So that gave me time to start investing in other companies and coaching younger CEOs. Pass it on, right?
Yeah.
Pay it forward. So today, my wife and I, Donna, we are invested in 7 different companies. All 6 of the 7 are based right here in the Portland area. So we've invested in MedZero, which is a healthcare technology payments company. We've invested in Toolbelt, which is a staffing platform for the construction industry. And we were one of the first angel investors in that company. And they're now across the entire West Coast. And they have institutional money and strategic money. And they're doing great. We invested in Ben's Elevate 2 fund, which I'm sure you're familiar with that, which is basically a venture fund for women, minorities, and veterans.
Wow.
And so we have money there. We have money with Romano Capital out of Clark County in Vancouver, doing building projects. And we have money with the company, and I'm on the board of directors for a company called IDGo, which is it's a technology for identity authentication from your device, your mobile or your laptop or your desktop. And it allows you to authenticate who you are without ever using a password. And, that's a local company as well. And so we're investors in that company, and I'm on the board of that company. And I'm a board observer for 2 other companies. I've invested in Asperia, which is a marketplace lending company out of Latin America. That's the only one that's not in the Portland area. And that one's great. And then lastly, and probably the passion project of my life right now, is one of my sons, Josh, came up with this idea of a healthy dip that you suck on, and it gives you sustainable energy. And it would be for first responders or military or police and fire or truckers or athletes. So instead of sugar or unhealthy things or nicotine or any of that, it's all healthy ingredients with a lot of caffeine and protein, and it gives you energy, healthy energy. And so he created that company called ProChoose, and my wife and I invested in that. And now I'm helping him run that company, and I'm helping him learn how to grow a company, how to build a company. And so we raised some investment, and, we're making a product and that kind of thing. So that one's taking up most of my time these days.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds like you're definitely keeping very busy, aren't you?
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I try to golf and surf on top of all that. And I don't know if you were aware, but we live in Mexico through the winter, and then we live in Portland during the summer months. So we're moving around a lot.
Yeah, it seems that you were traveling back and forth between Mexico and the US. So you speak Spanish fluently? Do you speak Spanish?
Pues tratando todos los días.
Muy bien. So, and what draws you to Latin America?
When I was a kid, I've always loved Mexico. When I was a kid, my dad used to take us on camping vacations down to Baja California before they even had paved roads. And we would go camping all the way down through Baja. And I just fell in love with the culture and the people. And I've always had an affinity for it. And and also, for many years, I was taking large clients and projects to India. Some of my clients were Pectronics and some other companies here. And I would set up engineering teams in India. And I just got to a point where I realized, why are we doing this on the other side of the world? We can do this in Mexico. We can do this in Latin America. We can do it in the same time zone. So really the vision for UnoSquare was to do all that stuff that people are doing in India and China and do it in Mexico and Latin America instead.
Got it. Well, and you did mention earlier that you surf. So
Mm-hmm.
do you have any surfing adventures to tell us about?
Oh gosh. Well, I like to surf all the time, and I've surfed all over the world. So
Wow.
I've surfed twice at Cloudbreak in Fiji, off of
Wow.
Tabarua Island. That's a world-class wave. I've surfed Margaret River in Australia, which was very scary. That was 15 years ago, and everyone was wearing helmets. And I paddled out, and I thought, I don't have a helmet, and this is crazy. And I've surfed, of course, in Hawaii and Nicaragua and the East Coast, and I've surfed Canada, and I still love to surf. So yeah, everywhere. And I surf longboard, shortboard, stand-up paddleboard, the whole thing.
Wow,
Great.
fantastic.
Yeah. And you said you love to build companies. So any advice for company builders out there? What do you startup builders need to consider when they are first starting to surf the ocean of business?
Yeah. I think, the two big things that I noticed for myself and for some of these young entrepreneurs that I work with today, the two big killers that I try to have them avoid is, number one, just bad financial management. I've seen so many entrepreneurs raise money or put in their own money, and they just spend like a drunken sailor, and they just overspend, and they don't manage the finances well. So helping them create rules of operation, financial rules of operation, where, for example, one of the rules we had at UnoSquare was we would never spend more than 30% of our gross margin on operating expenses, because we always needed extra money for growth, and we just never violated that rule. Well, a lot of young entrepreneurs, they don't have the discipline to do that, and it'll kill their company eventually. And then the second thing is just focus, just lack of focus. A lot of these really smart, capable people, just because they can spin 5 different plates at the same time doesn't mean that they should.
Mhm.
And so I've seen that as a big killer. If you're not focused, if you're not viciously focused on your mission and your one big idea and your one big company, and you're doing a few other things at the same time, it robs you of energy, and it robs you of time, and it robs you of success in the long run. So really, those two things are what I hammer home. And then on the side too, if they're willing, I do work with these people on focus in other areas of their life. So coaching them on, I believe in 4 quadrants. There's your hobbies, there's your kind of your spiritual life, there's your work life, and then there's your physical, your health. And I try to help them create goals around each of those so that they stay focused on the right things.
Mm. Right. Well, that's great advice. Thank you. And one of the big changes that I've seen with startups that I've worked with this year is AI is changing the whole landscape.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, you probably
Are you guys doing work in AI right now?
Yeah, getting generative AI experts in house. I think we aren't doing generalists. If we have a client with a specific project who needs to focus in this area, we can source them. But we don't have any clients who are doing generative AI right now.
Yeah, it's
in
still pretty early.
Yeah. In healthcare, it's becoming a big deal, though. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm curious from your experience if you have clients or startups that you know of who are using AI, and how you think this will change the face of business.
Yeah, I think, we're seeing with some of our clients right now, we're seeing, I would call it private cloud AI. So there's clients that, for example, they'll take their whole legal department, and they'll put them on a private AI platform, and that platform will consume all the history of legal documents and processes and things like that. And they can create a very, very helpful AI solution that actually creates great efficiency and better quality, to be direct. So that's game changing. So all the companies that are doing kind of private cloud AI platform development are seeing immediate and very real returns. And that's a game changer. As far as AI disrupting or destroying our industry, I don't see that happening. I think that's fear, and I think that's the media. You guys know we all saw this when low code, no code came out, and they were like,
Right.
"Oh my gosh, low code, no code, it's going to destroy software services globally," and then their stock prices dropped, and CNBC was talking about it, and it was all a big waste of time and energy, because to do low code, no code, you need a lot of code. You still have to write code to make those things work. And it's the same thing with AI. You still have to develop the platforms. There's still a lot of code behind it. And so I'm not personally worried about AI destroying our industry, but I do see AI as being game changing in verticals and in large companies and in industries where they can kind of capture a silo and apply AI to that silo. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll probably have to come back and ask this question in 6 months and see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You could be totally wrong, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, and our podcast is about people who dare to dream. So what do you dare to dream, Mike? What world do you imagine you are creating?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I talked about earlier about focus, right? I am very focused on my kids, and I have 4 children, and all of them are very different. And my dare to dream is to continue to help those 4 kids become outstanding humans in the world, and starting businesses, contributing to nonprofits, making healthy choices. I don't have a huge dream that I could share with you that's awe-inspiring for your listeners, but I know what I need to do, and it's to stay committed to my family, stay committed to my wife, to my kids, and just do well with what's right in front of me, with what I have. One of the things my family does, which is very important, is every year we host, with a few of our closest friends, we host a tequila party, and we raise money at the tequila party for the Ronald McDonald House here in Portland. And we're going on our 8th year now. And last year we raised $232,000 in one night.
That's fantastic.
For the Ronald McDonald House. So all my kids get involved with that. Their friends come, their in-laws come, their friend network, their employers, their bosses, their investment bankers, they all come, right? And we have this big party at Oregon Golf Club, and we have a lot of fun. And so that's a little bit of a legacy that we're leaving behind with our family. So,
well, I think the French philosopher Voltaire said the best way to make the world better is to cultivate your own garden. And that's right.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Love that. Very true.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Mike. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you. I hope this year is wonderful for you.
And equally, I wish the same for you and your endeavor. If there's anything I can do to help you and help you guys grow and help you guys get more and more success, just let me know. I'm happy to pitch in.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks, Cecilia.
Okay, take care, Mike.
Bye, Ned.
Bye. Thanks to our guests today for their great insights on DARE, the podcast for innovators, entrepreneurs, and startup leaders. If you'd like your story to be featured on DARE, just contact us at info@darwaft.com. DARE is brought to you by Darwaft, the tech team that can make your vision a reality.